Cyber Threat Brief for July 9, 2026. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, adds 5 exploited vulnerabilities to KEV, Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog with a July 10 deadline, including critical 10/10 flaws in Adobe ColdFusion and 2 Joomla extensions already under active attack. Goddamn ransomware is abusing a Microsoft-signed malicious driver to disable endpoint security before deployment. Ubiquiti patches 10 critical flaws across Unify product line. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Daily Cybersecurity Brief, 2026-079. Next section, Critical Alerts. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, KEV, Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog. 5 exploited vulnerabilities with July 10 deadline. CISA added 5 actively exploited vulnerabilities to its Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog on July 8, requiring federal agencies to patch within 3 days. Most critical are CVE 2026-48282, Adobe ColdFusion Path Traversal, CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 10.0, EPSS, the Exploit Prediction Scoring System, 3.2%, SB Page Builder for Joomla Remote Code Execution, CVSS 10.0, EPSS 1.4%, and Page Builder CK for Joomla Arbitrary File Upload, CVSS 10.0, EPSS 0.7%. Both Joomla bugs allow unauthenticated remote code execution. Enables attackers to upload PHP to the web root via an unauthenticated icon upload feature, and threat actors have used it to plant hidden admin accounts and PHP file manager backdoors. Was patched June 27 and exploited within hours to deploy web shells. Langflow Cross-Tenant IDOR, CVSS 9.9, EPSS 0.4%, allows attackers to execute flows belonging to other users. Sysdig observed it chained with Langflow RCE, patched March, EPSS 98.4%, CISA KEV due April 8 for reconnaissance and flow ID harvesting, and 6 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action, patch Adobe ColdFusion, Langflow version 1.9.1 Plus, SB Page Builder 6.6.2 Plus, and Page Builder CK 3.6.0 Plus by July 10. Review web logs for suspicious PHP uploads, backdoor accounts, and unusual flow executions. Sources: Security Week. Goddamn ransomware uses Microsoft-signed malicious driver to kill security tools. Hyedina Ransomware Group, formerly Beast and Monster Lockers, deployed a Microsoft-signed kernel driver called Poison X to disable endpoint security before deploying its new goddamn locker. Symantec observed the campaign against a U.S. organization starting May 29 with AnyDesk RMM, remote monitoring and management, dropped in a music folder. On May 30, attackers deployed Poison X, published to GitHub April 7 by user Oxfemale, as a research tool, which killed security processes and removed user mode API hooks. The attacker then used 14 open-source credential stealers, 13 from Nersoft, plus Mimikatz, targeting browsers, email, instant messengers, Wi-Fi, and network traffic. Hyedina moved laterally via PS exec before ransomware deployment. Targets include healthcare, manufacturing, and education sectors. Hyedina avoids former Soviet countries. Poison X gained a legitimate hardware compatibility signature from Microsoft despite having no legitimate use case. Action, monitor for Poison X driver, check IOC, indicator of compromise, feeds for hash, unexpected RMM tools in non-standard directories, and Nersoft utilities launch from unusual contexts. Review kernel driver signing policies. This is a BYOVD, bring your own vulnerable driver, variant using a signed malicious driver, not a vulnerable legitimate one. Source: Dark Reading. Next section, ransomware claims, last 48H. 6 claims tracked from CRPX0 Group on July 8. These are unverified claims from ransomware leak sites. Group Victim Sector Country CRPX0 Creative Smiles Pediatric Dentistry, Healthcare US CRPX0 Amwa Biopharm Co. Limited. Pharmaceuticals Unknown CRPX0 SF Smile Doctor Healthcare US CRPX0 Bishop Arts Dental PLLC Healthcare US CRPX0 Top Notch Dentistry of Dallas Healthcare US CRPX0 Benjamin H. Wang DDS Inc. Healthcare US. Next section, Ransomware and Extortion. Healthcare corporations face class action lawsuits over data breaches, and PII, sharing 3 Jane Doe plaintiffs, filed suit against CareNow, owned by HCA Healthcare, in Davidson County Circuit Court on June 11. The complaint alleges CareNow divulged patient PII to Google and third-party marketing companies via tracking technologies embedded in online appointment scheduling. HCA Healthcare is Nashville's second-largest employer and operates more than 20 urgent care centers across Middle Tennessee. The lawsuit is part of a broader wave of class actions targeting healthcare corporations for exposing or leaking PII and PHI. Action: audit third-party tracking scripts and pixels on patient portals and appointment scheduling systems. Review vendor data processing agreements. HIPAA does not explicitly prohibit tracking pixels, but sharing PHI with advertising networks without consent creates regulatory and legal risk. Source: data breaches. Net. Next section: business and infrastructure threats. Ubiquiti patches 10 critical flaws across Unify product line. Ubiquiti release patches for 10 vulnerabilities across Unify Connect, Talk, Access, Protect, and OS. 7 are rated critical. 9. 010. 0 CVSS. CVE 2026-50746. Unify Connect, CVSS 10.0, EPSS 0.8%, allows unauthenticated command injection on the host. Unify Talk, CVSS 9.9, is an authenticated SQL injection leading to privilege escalation. Unify Access, CVSS 9.9, EPSS 0.8%, is an input validation flaw enabling command injection. Unify Access, CVSS 9.1, is an access control issue allowing privilege escalation. Unify Protect, CVSS 9.9, is an SSRF flaw enabling privilege escalation. And Unify OS, CVSS 9.9 and 9.0, allow command injection and unauthorized device changes. No evidence of exploitation yet, but 3 older Unify OS CVEs were added to CIS a KEV last month after being exploited by Russian state actors. Compromised Ubiquiti routers have been enlisted into the MooBot botnet, and 9 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: update Unify Connect 3.4.20+, Talk 5.2.2+, Access 4.2.29+, Protect 7.1.83+, and OS 5.1.19+. Review access logs for suspicious API calls, SQL injection patterns, and SSRF attempts. Segment Unify controllers from untrusted networks. Source: The Hacker News. Hello squatting. AI coding assistants can be tricked into installing botnet malware. Researchers at Tel Aviv University and Technion discovered a new supply chain attack called Hello squatting that exploits AI coding assistant hallucinations. When asked to fetch a trending repository or plugin not in the training data, AI assistants consistently hallucinate fake package names. Attackers can register those names, embed adversarial instructions in the repository, and wait for assistants to fetch the malicious version. Indirect prompt injection in the fetched content hijacks the assistant, which then uses its built-in terminal tool to run attacker commands. In testing, the fake name consistency rate was up to 85% for repositories and 100% for skill installs across Cursor, Windsurf, GitHub Copilot, Klein, Google Gemini CLI, and OpenClaw. The attack does not rely on exploits, passwords, or worming, and is cross-platform. The payload is text the AI interprets, not network traffic a firewall can inspect. Ben Nassi's group previously built a self-spreading AI email worm and a calendar invite that hijacked Gemini. Action: restrict AI coding assistants from auto-installing dependencies without approval. Audit tool permissions, especially terminal/shell access. Review installed packages for unexpected sources. Vendors were notified before publication. Source: The Hacker News. Felons and fraudsters operate offensive cybersecurity startup Iris Command and control Iris C2. A McLean, Virginia-based startup claiming to acquire zero-day exploits for $10,000 to $7 million, is operated by Jack Berkman and Jacob Wohl. Both are convicted felons with a history of fake intelligence companies and disinformation campaigns. Wohl and Berkman were prosecuted for robocalls suppressing black votes in Detroit, 15 felony counts, sentenced to probation, pleaded guilty to telecommunications fraud in Ohio, 2022, and were fined $5.1 million by the FCC, largest TCPA fine at the time. They fabricated sexual assault claims against Robert Mueller and Pete Buttigieg and spread false claims about Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. Iris C2 operates under Calvexa Group LLC. G2 Exchange shows Calvexa registered as a federal contractor, but has no active government contracts. The company claims to hire junior engineers with raw talent and no degree requirement. Action: this is due diligence context for anyone evaluating exploit acquisition vendors. Iris C2 has no technical credibility and is operated by serial fraudsters. Do not engage. Source: Krebs on Security. Next section: General Security News. Microsoft deploys AI system to proactively harden cloud infrastructure. Microsoft built a multi-agent AI system to evaluate its cloud services against Secure Future Initiative (SFI) security requirements. The system uses orchestration agents, analysis agents grounded in threat intelligence, and evidence-gathering agents that investigate code, infrastructure definitions, identity configurations, and runtime states. It profiles service architectures, enumerates applicable security controls, verifies implementations, evaluates defense in-depth coverage, identifies gaps, and produces compensating control analysis. The system compresses weeks of manual security reviews into hours. Microsoft emphasizes that vulnerabilities emerge from the interplay of code, configuration, deployment, and connectivity, not just code alone. The system is internal and not available as a product, but insights will inform future Microsoft offerings. It complements codename code-level vulnerability scanning by adding configuration, identity, network, and runtime context. Source: Microsoft Security Blog. Count takeover attacks shift to verification and recovery layers, as passkeys block primary login passkeys are now deployed by 75% of global consumers. FIDO Alliance 2026 research, and 68% of companies, making credential stuffing less effective. Attackers are relocating to identity verification and recovery flows. Account recovery, device re-enrollment, step-up verification, and magic link interception. Verif's 2026 Fraud Industry Pulse Survey, 1,200 respondents, reports a broad rise in impersonation fraud, malware, authorized fraud, and document fraud. Verif's Identity Fraud Report 2026 found 4.18% of verification attempts fraudulent, with digitally presented media 300% more likely to be AI-generated or altered. Impersonation accounts for 85% plus of fraud attacks. Magic link interception via unverified mobile deep links, compromised inboxes, and SIM swaps is now a primary ATO vector. Defensive trends include intent binding, cryptographically linking verified human actions to authorized transactions, network effect fraud pattern detection across millions of sessions, and rising regulatory baselines. Action, audit account recovery, and step-up verification flows for weak authentication. Implement magic link expiration, device binding, and IP reputation checks. Review SMS-based recovery, SIM swap risk. Consider FIDO 2 device-bound passkeys for high-value accounts. Source: The Hacker News. Next section, Patch Priority. Adobe ColdFusion, Critical Path Traversal RCE, CVE 2026-48282, CVSS 10.0, exploited. CIS a KEV due July 10. Joomla SB Page Builder and Page Builder CK, Critical Unauthenticated RCE, CVE 2026-48908, CVE 2026-56290, both CVSS 10.0, exploited. CIS a KEV due July 10. Langflow, Critical Cross-Tenant IDOR and RCE Chain, CVE 2026-55255, CVE 2026-33017. Exploited. Update to 1.9.1 Plus. Ubiquiti Unify all products. 10 critical/high-severity flaws including unauthenticated command injection. Update immediately. Open SSH, multiple medium-severity issues, CVEs 59,995 60,002. Update to 10.4. Next section, Vulnerability Disclosures. Open SSH 10. 4 patches 7 flaws affecting SSHD, SFTP, SCP, and SSH client. Open SSH released version 10. 4 addressing 7 vulnerabilities. CVE 2026-60000. EPSS 0.3% allows remote DOS via excessive authentication attempts due to mishandled max auth tries for GSAPI authentication. EPSS 0.2% causes internal SFTP to recognize only the first 9 command line arguments, potentially breaking security configurations. EPSS 0.2% allows SCP to place files in parent directories during remote-to-remote copies. EPSS 0.2% allows SFTP to download files outside intended directories when using attacker-controlled servers. EPSS 0.3% causes SSHD to not honor minimum authentication delay. EPSS 0.1% allows permit tunnel equals yes to override disable forwarding equals yes. EPSS 0.3% causes a use after free in the SSH client when a server changes its host key during reexchange, and 6 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action: update open SSH to 10.4. Review SSHD config for GSAPI authentication, max auth tries, disable forwarding, and permit tunnel settings. Monitor for brute force attempts and unusual tunneling activity. Sources: MSRC, 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 and 6 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. An RAR5 recovery volume heap overflow, CVE 2026-14191, CVE 2026-14191 is an out-of-bounds heap, write-and-win RAR and un-RAR RAR5 recovery volume. Rev, handling and rec volumes 5. Read header. No CVSS score or exploitation status published. Action, update when RAR when a patch is released. Avoid opening untrusted. Rev files, source MSRC. X. Org server and libx font 2 memory corruption flaws, CVE 2026-56000. EPSS 0.2% is a use after free in Zorgex 11 server, and Xwhalen GLX context tags in common make current. Is a heap buffer overflow in Glamour Font Atlas. EPSS 0.5% is a heap buffer overflow in libx font 2 PCF font parsing. Is an integer overflow leading to heap buffer overflow in bitmap scale bitmaps, and 3 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action, update X. Org server, Xwhalen and libx font 2 when patches are available. This affects Linux desktop and server environments with X11. Sources, MSRC, 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 and 3 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. HP AES RAPPAD memory corruption, CVE 2026-14355, CVE 2026-14355, EPSS 0.3% is a memory corruption in X/OpenSol encrypt with AES RAPPAD. Action, update PHP when a patch is available. Review any code using AES RAPPAD mode. Source MSRC. Linux kernel vulnerabilities, CVE 2026-53359, KVM x86 shadow paging use after free, EPSS 0.2%, ARM64 TLBI errata mitigation, EPSS 0.2%, KVM v CPU dirty memory warn, EPSS 0.2%, Slimbus Q common GD control race condition, EPSS 0.2%, NVMem ONITLV hang, EPSS 0.2%, debug objects pi blocked on, EPSS 0.2%, I2C QCOM CCI null pointer dereference, netfilter synproxy mutex, and 7 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action, update Linux kernel via distribution channels. These are low-severity fixes with no known exploits. Sources, MSRC, 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 and 7 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Miscellaneous CVES CVE 2026-54908, Pion DTLS DOS via panic, EPSS 0.3%, stale proxy password leak, EPSS 0.8%, SSH improper host validation, EPSS 0.4%, cross-origin digest auth state leak, EPSS 0.8%, SASL double free, EPSS 0.8%, proto-default skips SSH verification, NTOP predictable session identifier, CVSS not scored, EPSS 0.4%, Ruby WebRick request smuggling via trailer content length, EPSS 0.3%, and 7 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Action, update affected libraries when patches are available. Most have low EPSS scores and no reported exploitation. Sources, MSRC, 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 and 7 additional CVEs. See show notes for the full list. Next section, trends and context. Today's brief highlights the continued erosion of trust boundaries in software, supply chains, and authentication systems. CISA's aggressive KEV additions reflect the weaponization speed of newly disclosed vulnerabilities, with Joomla extensions exploited within hours of patch release. The goddamn ransomware campaign demonstrates that signed code is no longer a reliable security indicator when malicious developers can obtain legitimate signatures. Hallo Squatting reveals that AI-assisted development introduces a new class of supply chain risk, where model hallucinations become exploitable attack surfaces. Finally, the shift from credential stuffing to verification layer attacks shows that hardening one control simply moves adversaries to the next weakest link rather than stopping them entirely. That concludes today's cyber threat brief. From Carolina Clear Tech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.